Welcome to What in the Smut podcast.
Where the books are horny, and so are we. I'm Elle.
And I'm Kay. So what do we got going on in the Smutverse this week? I know it's not good.
Kay saw the paragraph.
I didn't even read the paragraph, but just what I've seen without digging into anything.
I picked one thing because I was like, there was enough. We're going into the end of the year. Let's not overwhelm ourselves. But by now, we're all familiar with the multiple lawsuits against AI companies for using pirated books to train their large language models. Or you're a new listener to this podcast, in which case, buckle up because it's not all smut here. This week, authors and publishers were dismayed and enraged to wake up to Amazon's latest feature on Kindle called Ask This Book. Publishers Lunch asked Amazon about this new feature directly, and a spokesperson told them, quote, "The feature uses technology, including AI, to provide instant, spoiler-free answers to customers' questions about what they're reading. Now, in theory, this is not using the text of books in training data. Judging by the description of the feature, the text of the book is not remembered by the model after the query is concluded. However, LLMs are notorious for hallucinations, and Amazon is already in the news for flawed AI recaps of television shows, and this leads many authors and publishers to be rightfully nervous about what the chatbot might incorrectly say about the books it's prompted about, especially since Amazon has said there's no way to opt out of the feature."
It's insane. This was what I was seeing. And honestly, it's scary. This actually makes it sound a little less scary than what my brain was spiraling to.
Yeah.
But it's also I don't know. There's pieces of AI that can be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that can be a great addition to the world. But something like this is taking away community. It's taking away connection. It's taking away I just read this really fantastic book. Here's what it's about. You should read it.
Right.
And instead, sitting alone at your computer, looking up, what is this book about? It's taking away the human connection piece of it. And it's sad.
It is.
We're all going to end up like those people in WALL-E, just like...
I was just thinking about this. Well, because it's it's one of those things that I feel like, too, it diminishes our critical thinking skills. It's not
100%.
It's right. It's not just the risk of what are they doing with the text, which, to be clear, Amazon already has the text of these books. It's already being fed into this model in some way.
Yeah.
This is my I have a deep knowledge of how LLMs work, and I know how a feature like this would work, and so this is my best guess as to how it works. But there's no discussion of protection against using the text for training.
Mm-hmm.
But more broadly, more philosophically, why are you asking questions of a chatbot? It has no reasoning capability. All it does is predict what the next best word in its sentence should be. That's what an LLM is. It's not thinking. It's not actually thinking about the text and giving you a logical answer. It's just a pattern recognition machine. That's all. And so if you have to go in and be well, what am I reading? Come on, use your brain.
So is this the predictive text where if you type something in and then you press the next word and it'll create whatever?
Literally where this AI boom originated from there was this paper that was released in 2017, 2018 that was specifically about predictive text in text messaging, guessing your next word. So that's literally what an LLM does. And there's so many aspects of this tech that are going to change how we think and how we learn. And it's going to be crazy, the overhaul of our society. But I keep coming back to AI was supposed to do my laundry so that I could focus on creative things.
Yeah, 100%.
AI should do my creative things so that I can do my laundry. What the fuck is this dystopia?
Yes, 100%. Absolutely.
Now, I don't need an ill-conceived chatbot to tell me that the book we read this week was a great way to end the year. Okay?
So this week we read Midnight Drop by Lee Jacquot. Arian Kincaid grinds my damn gears. He was everything I aspired to be: successful, talented, creative, and for the longest time he was my inspiration, my guide. But the saying never meet your idol came from somewhere, and now I fully understand why. He's an asshole. No, more like arrogant, entitled, frustrating. And until New Year's Eve, I avoided ever seeing him again at all costs. But when a life-changing opportunity is presented in the form of hosting a party with the man himself, I can't refuse. I repeat the mantra that I'll be fine, that it'll be worth it in the end. It's only one night after all, and then I'll be able to go back to pretending he doesn't exist. I tell myself I can do it because I'm not the same sweet girl he ran into years ago, and I'll have no problem putting him in his place. The only problem is, as luck would have it, that place just so happens to be on his knees at my feet. What a way to end that synopsis.
I love it.
So good.
Where would you put this one on our smut scale?
I think I'd put this at a 3.
Ooh, tell me why.
It's a slow burn 100%. It is a very slow burn. There's a little bit of bondage, talking about using a safe word, but it never really gets to the non-con piece of things or dub-con piece of things. There's a lot of plot, but it's more than just vanilla, I think.
I love it because it's a slow burn and has a lot of plot. You're like, this is a level 3.
Well, no, it's a level 3 because of the bondage.
I feel like that puts it no higher than 2.
Really?
I mean, like, because we put Elf at level 2, and that had some light bondage.
That's bondage with frosting.
So, this is bondage with a costume. It's still,
Yeah, I guess
still
you're right.
tied up.
And I guess tying her up, that's not necessarily a rare fetish. So you're right. Okay. Yeah, it's
I
light
argue
kink.
level 2.
I'll agree with you. It's light kink. I had to look back to what our descriptions are, but it is light kink. So in terms of triggers, the note from the author does say that it's a steamy, slow burn, and sexy read. It's intended for mature audiences of legal adulthood age, as it includes explicit consensual sexual scenes. It should not be used as a guide for kinks or a BDSM relationship. And that I have things to say about that too. The author is not liable for any attachments formed to the MCs, nor the sudden desire to make a man kneel at your feet so you can spit a shot in his mouth. So good.
This, I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, me too. Overall, it's had considerably higher ratings than some of the other books that we've done.
Oh, yeah.
There's a 4.1 on Amazon and a 3.8 on Goodreads. A 5-star from Amazon says hot and steamy. Wow, another great novella by Lee Jacquot. Everything changed for her the moment he opened his mouth at the first event. The chemistry between the two was spicy. Groveling is chef's kiss. And a 4-star says perfect end of year novella. Now, Lee, you did not have to throw that shot scene in there, but I am so beyond happy you did. Me too.
Yeah.
As usual, another amazing quick read from the queen of holiday novellas. I can always count on this series to get me out of my slumps. I was a bit hesitant about the book when I read it was going to be about cosplayers. I've never dabbled in the community really, so I was unsure if it would hit the spot. While I don't think it's my favorite of all themes, I can't say I didn't have a fun time. Surprisingly, the slow burn aspect of this worked well, which isn't something I can usually say for novellas. Definitely recommend. Now,
What a mood.
cosplay obviously was a theme for the book, but it was also a huge theme in the reviews, both good and bad.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm so curious about that because, so the Goodreads reviews reflect that, I would say, because this 1-star says there was zero need to make them cosplay characters. So what the fuck?
Which that I pulled because I'm like, there is zero need to make anybody in any book do or wear or be anything.
There's zero need to make her own a bakery in a small town. Get over it.
Exactly. You didn't like it, that's fine, but
it's different. It was refreshing.
It was,
I found it very fun. Also, I'm a nerd. So when the book started, I was like, there are few things that I'm gonna have to explain to Kay.
A
Like, just for
100%. And
seeing.
as I was reading it, I was like, oh, Elle's gonna love this, and she's gonna be able to tell me what I'm missing. So
So a 3.5 stars on Goodreads says, loved the smut, but hated the cosplay thing. How the fuck am I supposed to take him seriously while he's wearing a fucking cape? Okay, I do understand this feeling.
yeah.
If it's not for you, it's not for you. But like, I feel like this is kind of in that same vein of like, if someone beckoned to me with a tentacle, I'd be out. It's like,
Yeah.
just because it doesn't work for you doesn't mean,
It's funny because a lot of the negative reviews weren't about the writing, weren't about the spice, weren't about anything but the cosplay.
That's
Which
so
it's
funny
like
to me.
people, if you don't like a monster fucking book, don't read a monster fucking book. If you don't like cosplay, don't read a cosplay book.
Yeah. It is the
Like,
same.
you can't be mad if you're reading a book about monsters fucking if
If it has a monster in it. Yeah.
like,
This is the meme from Arrested Development where he opens up the fridge and it says "Do not open," dead pigeon inside, and then he opens it. He goes, "I don't know what I expected." Like, it's just a dead pigeon.
well, if you do want to give this book a try, there is links in our show notes. Otherwise, we are going to give a full rundown of the plot. There will be spoilers. We have a lot to say. Ella's going to teach me so many things this week, and let's get into it.
Oh, I can't wait. Amazing. We're going to start with the dedication. Yeah. Forgot that word for a second. I got so excited. To those who believe the grovel of a man should be at the feet of his woman. Winky face.
No notes.
No notes. I love it. So we start with a main character surrounded by her besties. I love this.
I did too because I love this game.
Yeah, fuck, marry, kill. Let's go. So one, Bailey, our main character, is a streamer. She's a content creator who does cosplay, and she, at this point, is hosting a stream getting ready for New Year's Eve. And she is playing Fuck, Marry, Kill with her bestie, Cindy, who is also a cosplayer. And I've never heard Thor and Iron Man referred to as the hammer and iron, respectively.
Me neither, but also I knew who they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm not somebody that you're going to hate this. I've never watched
seen
any
Marvel
of them,
movies.
any of the
That's
Marvel
okay.
movies.
I mean, I know too much about Marvel. And I don't know, like the first Iron Man literally changed my brain chemistry. Like it was one of my favorite movies for a very long time. And that was even before like Marvel got into its groove.
In what way though? Like, should I watch it?
No, I don't think so. I don't. It's not like it's a brilliant movie. It's just that in 2008, when superhero movies were like not very good.
You love the superhero thing. Yeah.
I do love the superhero thing. And the thing about Iron Man was I was studying engineering at the time. I was like, this is incredible. This is everything I wanted out of a superhero movie. I want to build my own Iron Man suit. This is everything. And I don't think that it holds up probably, but it is special to me.
In that time in your life. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bailey says Tony has the gadgets, the toys. Her friend says, I want to be tied up with Spidey's webs. Can you imagine the shibari that man knows? Which, hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious.
But these types of conversations where they're so out of left field tend to be the best kind.
Absolutely.
Like those, when all of the like hear me out videos were coming out, it's the same. This is the same kind of thing. Fuck, marry, kill with Marvel characters is 100% the hear me out. This is why I would fuck Spidey. Like,
absolutely.
That upside down kiss, man.
Yes. And that's what Cindy says. Think about it. He can tie you in literally any position, upside down, legs folded. Oh, or on your knees, hands behind your back. But Bailey has created a persona. So she has become pretty popular on the internet. And part of that is that she's created this reputation of being a dominant personality that is universal and unwavering, even behind closed doors. The unbothered and borderline bitch guys is one I adopted when I found out how cutthroat the community could be, when I realized sweetness gets you nowhere. And what's interesting is we're going to get a lot of references to her metaphorical mask throughout this whole book of like, this is the persona that I created, but it's also kind of like who she's trying to be, like as a person, not just for the camera. And I felt like it was for a novella where we are on a path to spice. And
Yeah.
usually that's just we have a destination and we're trying to get to it.
Yeah.
Like this was a surprisingly deep character arc.
Yeah.
To your point in the reviews, like this was a lot of plot and a lot of buildup, and I quite enjoyed it.
I did too. And there were some reviews that were like, this was too much plot. It's like, listen, we're here for the sex too, but also
Yeah.
like after a while, you need something else.
Yes. And like I would argue, because we're gonna slow burn this for the next 80 to 90 pages.
Yeah.
Like it takes a while. But by the time we get there, holy shit.
Like by the time we get there, you're on board.
You're on board. You're so ready. And it's because Lee Jacquot made such a good anticipatory rivals to lovers arc in 120 pages.
I love the enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers. I love that trope.
It's so good.
But
It's so
also,
good.
I feel like I love that trope so much because I love banter. And that always comes from like that the foreplay is always the banter with a rivals to lovers kind of situation.
Yeah, it's like that antagonistic banter where you're trying to push them and then it's like, oh, I pushed into something a little bit real. Like, oh, it's so good.
It's good. So they're getting ready for this New Year's Eve party.
Indeed.
She says, like, the fans spoke. They demanded that she and this other cosplay guy host this New Year's Eve party together. Now, his name is Arian Kincaid, and it says, the bane of my entire fucking existence. He's a popular cosplayer who runs in the same circles as I do, and he has the same shtick as well. Successful, arrogant, commanding, but also annoyingly hot. Well, perhaps the irritation with his looks belongs to me alone, but the rest is true. Now, he's known for his superhero cosplay, but he's also got a dominating energy. And, like, it's interesting because, and I think we talked about this last week or maybe a couple weeks ago, with the whole parasocial relationships.
Yes.
On social media and whatnot. And this is a prime example of that. Like when people, especially people that have this big following, they're putting out a persona or they're putting out a very small part of who they are, and people latch on to that part and create these parasocial relationships where they don't actually know them at all. So this kind of gave a little bit of a glimpse into that from that perspective of it.
Yeah. You basically get all of the pieces of that too, because like she's sitting in front of a camera. There's going to be a lot of references to when they are on display and not on display. And like each of their followings, Arian's and Bailey's, basically ship them in real life. Like they want these two people to get together and are like making inferences about how hot they would be together, like without actually knowing them as people. And that is problematic.
Yeah.
Even if in this particular case, they are correct that they would be very hot together and would work together. That's not reality. Like they're putting on a persona. But the thing that annoys Bailey is that Arian copies the counterpart of any, and I mean any, of the characters I play. One time I made content in a Sailor Moon outfit, which took me 3 weeks to create, and he made a video wearing tuxedo mask 2 days later. Or the time I did Daphne and he was Fred. Then there was when I was so proud of the work I put into my Pikachu cosplay and he backdoored and dressed as Ash. Do you know all of those characters?
Yes.
Nice.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty mainstream.
Yeah. There was a review that was like, I would recommend not Googling if you don't know from this. And I was like, oh, is this another hentai situation? Because remember, I Googled that.
Yes. I had forgotten, but now it's lighting up in my brain. Yeah.
But really, I think what it came down to was like not knowing these names or whatever can take you out of the story if
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
continue to have to Google stuff.
Yep.
So they are live streaming getting ready for this party, and she's like trying not to show her nerves because she's on camera, and her friends are they're trying to like hype her up, which you're a fantastic hype person. So like I did think about you when I was reading this because you're a great hype person.
Aw, thanks.
You're a good hype person, but her friends are also.
Mhm.
And one of her friends, I gotta find it because I was like, this is fantastic. And this is absolutely something that Elle would say.
Was this in the flashback?
Yeah, it is in the flashback.
Yeah. I know
Okay, so
exactly
we're
which
not
one you're
there
talking
yet.
about.
Okay.
So Bailey finally backs away from the camera to show what she is dressed as for this New Year party. And do you know who April O'Neil is?
It took me the context clues.
Yes.
I mean, I'm old enough to have watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the
Yes.
day. However,
okay.
and I like the description helped to kind of bring it back a little bit, but I wouldn't say that I was immediately
Aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what is nice is she describes her outfit, a tight yellow jumpsuit. There's a zipper at her chest that is pulled halfway down to her navel, exposing the white push-up that gives me an extra cup size, a white belt, and white leather-heeled boots that stop mid-calf, and she's wearing a red bob wig. And then it says, I'm the hottest fucking April O'Neil there ever was. And as you can see, I'm just missing my microphone. And Cindy points out, or a box of pizza. And then we'll get a reference to Donatello. We'll get a reference to, I kind of expected him, I hoped he would come as the rat, which is the turtles' teacher, their sensei. But we get a lot of context clues as to what her character is. So you don't need to know. Also, you don't need to know at all. It's not relevant.
Yeah, I mean, and the people that were mad about the cosplay piece of it, like, yeah, there were these details and whatever, but at the same time, could have been getting ready to go to a party and like wearing a black mini dress. Like it doesn't
Totally.
It's part of their job, and maybe it's like the people that get mad about the whole like influencer piece of life, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So anyway,
they mentioned that Aryan is keeping his outfit a secret, but they have to get going. And Bailey points to the camera and says, remember, if you're going out tonight, get a DD or pay for a ride share. And very live streamy, code for 20% off your ride with 3 different services is pinned in the stream,
which is great. But also, I kind of loved that piece of it too. Like, safety first.
Yeah. Nothing is spoon fed to the reader, which is, I feel like, rare in a novella. The epilogue is very spoon fed. It's like there's no showing and lots of telling. And it's like, oh, look, this, and this happened. Like, which fine. The story's over at that point. But for the majority of this novella, you're getting these little building blocks of who each of these characters are and how their personality has led them to this point. And so, like, despite the fact that Bailey is a bad bitch who doesn't care about anyone or anything and, like, is not gonna be swayed and is not sweet anymore, absolutely not, she still encourages everybody to be safe.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, you still get those, like, glimpses of the sweetness that she has left behind or thinks she has left behind.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Which it shows that, like, really good writers can write novellas.
Yes.
And, like, really bad writers can write really fucking long books.
Yeah. Yes, they can. The length of the story is not indicative of the strength of the writing.
Absolutely. So, one thing that I didn't love through this. So, Maury is a third character, a third
Yes.
friend in here. And she is Bailey's manager, but also friend. And we keep getting a lot of reference to her and Danny. And Danny is Arian's manager and
and
also friend. And how they
Yes.
had this whole little like yearning for each other and whatever. And I can understand that in a full length novel
Mm-hmm.
where like you can tell that they're going to be the next couple to get a spinoff.
Aren't they going to be the next couple to get a spinoff?
Yes, that 100% have to be, but it was too short of a book for that to be welcomed, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
I thought it was a nice contrast to Bailey and Arian because they are going to feature Maury and Danny are going to feature as kind of like, well, it's okay that they are taking things slow. Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
brashly announce your intentions to everybody, Bailey. Like, you should support your friend in like what she's like pursuing. And if she's happy, why do you care? And I don't know. I thought it was fine. I didn't mind it.
Think maybe there were just like a couple too many
References to them.
references to them and their like budding relationship that
Yeah,
I'm like,
maybe.
all right, let's move on to what I'm here for.
We have a destination, damn
Yes,
it.
yeah. So she's being reminded that like she's doing this event tonight because it's going to be a stepping stone for her career. She's worked really hard to get where she's at, but Arian has this huge following, and like by doing this event together, it'll help with the exposure and really kind of bringing her dreams a little closer to reality.
Yes. Does it mention what her dream is?
Yes, having her
Okay.
own brick and mortar with outfit crafting classes
Yes.
is her like dream. So she does say it's one night, a few hours, just under 11,000 seconds. I can do this. And I felt this because there are definitely times or events or whatever that I'm like, all right, it's one night, it's a couple hours. Like, put on your big girl pants and
I think
and do
I've given
this.
you pep talks for some of these nights.
Absolutely.
So they're kind of running through the overview of the event. So the event is exclusive. Creators have been asked to minimize using their personal devices. So there's going to be one place where they're live streaming everything. I don't know that we know ahead of time that there's going to be a drone flying around that's like filming everybody from different angles, but that is the case. And they roll up and it's like gorgeous. She says, having always lived not too far, I knew the estate was used for weddings and fundraisers, but never did I realize just how extraordinary it is. Goes to show the sponsors running the party have plenty of money, and if all goes well, a permanent spot for me on their payroll. So she is really trying to keep the end goal in sight.
Yep.
And like put on her mask and like
Yes.
get geared up for this evening with someone that she doesn't particularly like. She has not told her friends
Yeah.
about the run-in that she had with him 2 years ago, which we will get later.
Yeah, we keep getting references to like she was embarrassed and this was 2 years ago and she never told her friends what happened. So like all of a sudden she goes from kind of idolizing this guy to full on hating him, blocking
In a
him
matter
from
of
everything.
seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that didn't make a ton of sense to me in that her friends didn't pick up on the fact that like, did you meet him? Did you run into him? Like what's with the sudden change of heart on this, you know?
A minuscule plot hole, I think,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things. So they walk up to the bouncer and he asks for their names, and Cindy goes, "Oh, this is exclusive. Like there's a guest list. Hell yeah." Maury is saying he was likely letting Danny know, and then before she can finish her sentence, a vaguely familiar shaggy-haired man greets us. "I'm so glad you're here. I was worried y'all would do the whole late is on time thing." And this I liked because it says, "Lucky for Maury, the deep brown pigment of her skin doesn't betray the blush I know is lighting up her face. Hey, Danny." He beams, his pale complexion doing nothing to hide his. "Hey, you look amazing."
I love that. I love it.
So cute.
I love it. And we've talked about this too. Like women do not dress for men. We dress for the compliments of other women. However, it doesn't hurt when you get
does
that
not.
compliment from the person that you are interested in.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
So Danny says, Bailey, I need you to come with me. He has to escort her
Mhm.
to Arian, who, my gosh, what an incredible introduction to a character. So she's giving Danny shit, basically, and says, you and Maury, huh? Quite the duo. And he shakes his head and he's like, no, nothing like that. We just admire each other's work. That's all. Bailey's like, so you're hiding the fact that you're attracted to my manager and really being a bitch to him for
Which
this.
that's her shtick.
It is. She's like, why do you feel the need to be discreet when it's so obvious? If you have a thing for my friend, she's owed the common decency for you to be outright and not string her along with pretty words or those sick little smiles.
Yeah. This is a little bit like don't cross a woman scorned kind of situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where it's like not everybody is going to treat you or your friends the way that you were treated by one person
Right.
and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. You can't paint everybody with a broad brush. So, a voice behind her, the deep timbre of a voice that doesn't belong to Danny, completely owns the crackle that shreds my nerves to feeble strings. It's a voice I still hear in my fucking nightmares. And he says, is that what you like? No chase, just boring confessions? Tell me, what fun is that?
So good. So good because he goes back and forth with that acting like a cocky asshole
Mm-hmm.
and then groveling on his knees, and we'll get there.
Yeah. Here for it.
So he came dressed as the villain to her hero, the shredder to my April. Gray shirt clings to his chest, happily highlighting every single dip and ridge of his muscular frame, and his bare arms make my entire body tense. So, this is another one of those examples where sometimes your body's going to give you signs that your brain is not ready to hear or that your brain does not want to hear. But also, I guess, in that case, sometimes your body gives you, the green light when it shouldn't, when your brain is like, this is a bad idea. So,
Yeah.
there's that too, I guess. Whatever.
There is that. So she says, I was just letting him know I wasn't okay with him stringing my friend along. His head tilts to the side. Where's the challenge, the tension? And she replies, 2 years seems like plenty of time. And he replies, says you. We're silent for what feels like the longest minute of my life. The air between us becoming thicker as a strange new current ripples through the air. It's so good. So she's like, oh shit. Does he remember this meeting that we had 2 years ago? Because she thinks he doesn't.
So she does say, we got off on the wrong foot. My name is Bailey. And he goes, long time no see, Bay. How's that ankle of yours holding up? My chest squeezes, my soul rages. He remembers.
Yes.
So then we get the flashback to 2 years ago, which is their first and only actual in-person meeting up until this point.
So she's getting ready for this event 2 years ago. And it says, I examine myself for the 18th time. The blonde wig is set perfectly, parted to the side and secured under a black band. The olive sports bra and matching leggings fit like a glove. And my ass looks great, split in two by the thick black thong that's chafing a little bit. It's not the most extravagant cosplay in the world. There's no debating that. But it's what I can afford right now. And this is an interesting kind of glimpse into this community because I don't know anything about the cosplay community.
Okay.
I did a brief kind of I dressed up as Zero Suit Samus for a Comic-Con in college, but
I have no idea who that is.
it doesn't matter. She's a Nintendo character, basically.
Okay.
I didn't receive the kind of attention that is described here in terms of oh, you are supposed to embody the character. You're supposed to do your research. But it is an interesting setting of the stage, I guess. So this is the pep talk that I think you were talking about.
Yes. So Cindy and Maury both walk into the room and Bailey says, y'all look great. And Cindy says, don't start, B. Don't go getting inside that big head of yours and telling yourself otherwise. You are Bailey fucking Rook and you are a bad bitch. And this is an L talk. This is You're gonna pump him up. And she looks at her and she goes, you gotta say it.
Mhm.
And she makes her say, so, and as we all would, she's like, I'm Bailey Rook and I'm a bad bitch. And she's like, no, that's not good enough for me. You need to say it the right way.
Yes.
I loved it. I think that this is like peak girlhood. I think that it's great.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's perfect. It does a great job of establishing both like what their dreams are as a group, because like they've basically kind of been, interested in cosplay and excited about it, but this is their first time trying to like make a splash on social media. But also, it is a perfect glimpse at friendship. And I liked that there were 3 of them and they all have distinct personalities. They feel like real people. They feel like friends in my friend group.
I mean, and there's always 3 in every group of
Yeah.
3, there's always one that's like gonna take no shit,
Yep.
one that's gonna plan everything out, and one that's just there for the vibes. And I feel like in some ways, Cindy is there for the vibes,
Yeah.
but also she takes no shit.
Yeah.
And I love
Like,
that.
especially at this point in time, this was like before Bailey kind of built up her own take no shit persona.
Yeah.
So like Cindy was like firmly occupying that space.
Yes. So she does say again, I'm Bailey Rook and I'm a bad bitch. And the
Yes.
sentence sounds much different now, commanding, strong. I like it, but I like the airiness that expands across my chest even more. So like getting into that mindset
Mm-hmm.
is important. And I think that it's great to have people on your side to help you get to that point. I think
Yes.
that there's stages of life for everyone. So in some stages, you're going to be that person for someone else. And in some stages, you're going to need those people to be hyping you up, which
Yes.
is, I don't know. That's my deep thought for the day.
It's also interesting that if I remember correctly, they have done studies on doing superhero pose in front of the mirror, and it actually releases the like confidence chemicals in your brain. So like if
Man.
you really need like a little dose of confidence, you just got to stand in front of the mirror and shoulders back, stand up straight, hands on your hips and feet set kind of shoulder width apart, and just like believe that you are strong, and it actually works.
So you do need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a bad bitch with your hands on your hips, and you're gonna, okay, I'm gonna try it.
It helps. It really does help. So it says, with a newfound shield, I pose and take a picture. I don't think any of us expected it to get the traction it does. Not from the public, not from the other creators I've followed for years, and especially not from Arian Kincaid. So even before she arrives at the event, this photo that she's posted is starting to make waves.
Which is wild for the first post ever.
Yes. It does kind of indicate that she is extremely hot.
That's fair. So she's got the pretty privilege.
Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat, it's not like you're a particularly well-known character also, so it's not like you're going to get like a ton of traction in that specific like hashtag.
See, I'm trying to think of like, so like what would be a character that like would get that kind of feedback immediately? And quite honestly, the only thing that keeps popping into my mind, and that's not going to be the case, is like Princess Peach.
No, almost assuredly not.
And I know that it's not the right answer. I know that that's, but that's,
I mean, it's not a bad answer.
but
You
that's
will
the
get more-
level of understanding and the glimpse I have into this world of cosplay and the cons, if you will.
I mean, like at the very, very beginning, Huntrix would have been like Rumi would have been your go-to.
Okay.
Like, especially in the first like couple of weeks after the movie came out. And then it became over concentrated where like everybody was dressing up as Rumi and Zoe and Mira.
I mean, I know that the cosplay community has some really, really, really incredibly talented creators. And like to be able to make some of these things, like I think about some of the like Transformer cosplays that I've seen, and like how the attention to detail and the creativity that goes into creating this is just absolutely
Yes.
beyond my wildest dreams of being able to do something, and I consider myself a creative person. So, like,
Yeah.
the artistry I have absolutely have a lot of respect for. I
Mhm.
just don't understand the intricacies of all of it, and that's like, it's I'm not part of that world, I
Yeah.
guess, you know?
No, totally. Absolutely. So they attend this con and are wandering around. Bailey goes to the bathroom. And when she gets into the stall, it says, like the asshole fate is as of late, voices give me pause. Did you see her? The first voice is scratchy and hoarse. It's vaguely familiar. I mean, seriously, what kind of friends are they to let her come here like that? And then when we told her how cute she was, she fucking thanked us and got all shy. Like, bitch, if you're not going to be in character, you might as well play dress up at home. And then it continues, she won't last long, especially if she thinks spandex and a thong are enough to be a Mortal Kombat character. Be fucking for real. And that's kind of like the proof that they are talking about her.
Yes. Now, miserable people like this are out
Yeah,
there everywhere.
they are.
And I just can't process being that person.
Yeah,
For somebody that although vaguely familiar voice, maybe it is somebody within their circle that has that whole like jealousy piece of it, or just
maybe.
because it's somebody that they had just talked to. But like, I can't process having this conversation in the bathroom and spewing that, like,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. It's very catty.
Yes. And it's
And
like very counter to my experiences in women's bathrooms, I feel.
right? That's an excellent point.
It's like what's interesting too is that this book does not at all touch on the gender divide, I feel like, in nerdy spaces specifically.
Mhm.
Because god damn, if men aren't the fucking worst in nerd spaces. The gatekeeping is unreal.
What
And
do
there
you
is a
mean? I need
like
more to that.
so there is a very popular meme that kind of goes around that's like, "Oh, you like X thing? Name 3 of their songs, 3 of their albums, whatever." And that attitude is dialed up to 11 when you're talking about comic book characters and video games. Every single like nerdy girl that I know has a
Yeah.
story of going into a comic book shop and being fucking bullied for being a girl. It's gotten better over the years, but it's very, very, very difficult to get into this kind of community as a woman in a lot of regards.
Now
I think cosplay is a little bit different, but I am not certain how that manifests.
now this is I'm trying to think of this or try to phrase it in a way that's not gonna be, like, offensive
Mm,
but do you think that a lot of the men in those situations are like that with women because they don't have as much experience interacting with women?
uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's almost the, like, pull her pigtails on the playground kinda situation? Do you think that that's where a lot of it comes from?
There's a little bit of that.
And, like, I'm trying to unlearn my own bias of, like, the quote unquote "nerdy community" or whatever, and
Sure.
it just being the lives in his parents' basement kinda situation.
Absolutely.
Now, there's absolutely a big chunk of males in that community that can be the case for. I'm not s and
With the economy the way it is, there are a lot of people still living in their parents' basement, and
that's
that is not their fault.
and that yes,
So,
that is
but
true.
yes, to your point of like there is a stereotype, and I think there is a stereotype for a reason. But I think there's also a piece of it's the same kind of psychological mentality that comes from people being like, well, I had it bad, so why should it be easy for you kind of vibes. And for a lot of people in this community, when we were kids, being a nerd was a bullyable offense.
Yeah.
Like it just was. And that was attention, negative attention that you would receive regardless of gender. And
Yeah.
so I think that for a lot of people in that community, they're like, it's kind of like a jealousy of, I had to fight to be interested in this despite all of the negative attention I received for it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it easy for you to be interested in it because, like, that's not fair, kind of.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think that there's just a little bit of that tension of like, this is a thing that's very dear to me. I've been attacked for liking it in the past. What are you doing in my safe space? And are you genuinely interested or do you have ulterior motives? I think
Yeah.
is the more is the nicer interpretation of that lashing out. But it doesn't make it any easier for women to enter those spaces when that's kind of the like reception that you're going to get. And so
Yeah.
I think it was interesting that we talked a lot about Comic Cons and nerdy spaces and did not at all touch on the gender piece of it here. It was kind of refreshing, actually. Like, she doesn't receive like sexist comments.
Well, because that's the other thing too, is a lot of these cosplays, especially for
Yes.
costumes that are women's costumes, it's
Yep.
like tits out all over the place.
Yeah. A common phrase is cosplay is not consent. That is a big one
Yeah.
in these spaces because it's like just because you're dressed very skimpily or whatever it might be, that does not mean that you are inviting sexual attention. It means that you are portraying a character that for whatever reason you want to and you enjoy. But the fact that she didn't receive any kind of sexual harassment in this outfit with a thong, and like with a skin tight outfit and the interaction she's about to have with Arian, he's going to mention that she's hot, but it's like that could be gender neutral in this case,
Yeah.
So it was interesting to me.
It's the whole thing is interesting to me. And again, like I like to learn new things as we've figured out. But I also think with that non-understanding, it does come with some biases that like society has put on all of that. And shows like Big Bang Theory don't help.
They don't. They do not help.
Because it just really kind of solidifies the stereotype of that. I don't know. It's an interesting war within myself, I think, to understand that, like, there's so much more to this, but then what you've been programmed to think when you're not seeing it from the inside.
Yeah,
If that
definitely.
makes sense.
It does.
So she's upset about hearing that people are talking shit about her, as we all do when you accidentally stumble upon, and it's happened to everybody at some point in their lives. And it's almost like I wonder what those people, because it's almost like the keyboard warriors, like if she had just busted out of the bathroom, like, thank you for your feedback. I wonder how that would have gone down instead. Would they have backtracked? Would they have like, when you're saying stuff and you don't think somebody else is going to hear it.
People are shittier when they are anonymous.
Again, it's almost like the parasocial relationship piece of it, where it's like, I can talk shit about her because she let herself be in this position where she's available to be judged.
Yeah.
So they leave, and then she's like, okay, I'm gonna go. She washes her hands, and when she pushes the door open to the bathroom, it says, I'm too blinded either by anger or the slight glaze of unshed tears, and walk smack dab into a rock solid chest and lose my balance. My right foot comes down wrong and my ankle nearly folds in half. So she doesn't fall.
He catches her.
He catches her. And at first, it's nice.
Yeah. He says, are you all right if I let you down? Eyes darting behind me as if he has much better places to be. And she says, yes, I'm fine. And she then says, thank you. And he says, sure, I'll let you get back. I'm sure you have plenty of creators to meet, lots of pictures to get. And she's kind of like, what do you mean pictures to get?
Which, this is annoying to me.
Yeah.
She posted her first picture that day. This is her first costume. Nobody's coming to ask you. You're not getting a big line of people coming to meet you. Yes, you're going to go and you're going to network and you're going to get pictures with people that are on a higher level than you are at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why she was so offended by this, because that was wild to me.
Yeah. It is wild. What's funny also is like, it's been a long time since I was at a Comic-Con, but like it is common to dress up for Comic-Con and not consider yourself a cosplayer.
Yeah.
And so, like, it is not unreasonable for, like, literally the biggest cosplayer in the space to be like, I'm sure you have pictures to get.
It was just it makes you be like the audacity,
Yeah.
which I typically reserve for men these days.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But I agree. So, yeah, she's like, I'm in cosplay. And he says spandex doesn't equal cosplay, especially when you're walking around being friendly with everyone and not acting in character. And she's like, so what if I'm looking around at booths? Am I supposed to just walk around all mean? And he says, stop. This is painful. You're asking what a cosplayer would do in character. I mean, seriously, are you so new to the community that you didn't care enough to research the craft whatsoever? And she's like trying to say something and he keeps talking. And he says, let me guess. You watched one anime or saw some guy dressed up as a nostalgic character you liked and said, oh, hey, I'm hot. I bet I could do that. And it says, it's as if I've been punched. Did I meet Cindy and Mori in the manga section after I saw a single ad of one line that made me run out and buy the entire series? Yes. Did seeing Arian a year later in a spandex suit make me go, holy shit, that's sexy. I want to see it in person? Also a resounding yes. But it doesn't matter what brought me here. The fact remains, I'm in love with the community more than this asshat can ever understand. And he doesn't get to make me feel like shit about not being perfect my first time out. The second I part my lips to reply, though, he turns and gives me his back. Do yourself a favor next time and spend an hour doing actual research before putting on your workout outfit and ordering a wig, then calling yourself a cosplayer.
Like, he was a dick.
He was a dick. He
100%.
absolutely was a dick.
And we don't really get, like, again, this is like a hot guy that has a lot of women that are throwing themselves at his feet. So this goes against what I had said before.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's definitely got a lot of women interacting with him.
Yes.
What we get from him later is that, like, he saw her across the room and it made him slip from his role, and that pissed him off.
Well, what happened was he was already not in a great mood. He was distracted by her because he found her very attractive. And then a fan said something offensive to him and he shot back, which is not something he would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's coming down off of this interaction where he had insulted a fan in public. He's hating himself and he takes it out on her because in his twisted, I'm in a bad mood and I'm aching for a fight and to take it out on somebody kind of position, he sees it as her fault, which he does admit later that she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't her fault. But yeah, it's like, what's funny is I feel like this is such a realistic interaction to have had. And it is such a realistic interaction to have internalized and hated someone for years over.
Yeah.
It's very real. And it feels like the correct kind of stakes. I don't know.
No.
It's accessible.
Yeah, 100%. And it also, I mean, you hear about people that this celebrity is such a dick or whatever. You can catch them in moments like that.
Of course.
And when all eyes are on you all of the time, I mean, you can do the right thing 100 times and do the wrong thing once, and people stick on the wrong piece of things, you know?
I like to call these golden retrievers because in the United States, the most dog bites are perpetrated by golden retrievers. More than pit bulls, more than German shepherds.
Interesting.
And the reason is because fucking every household in America has a golden retriever.
Yeah.
When you have so much exposure, there is going to be a time when they do something wrong. People are people. They're going to have their low moments. They're going to have their high moments. And hopefully we won't all be judged by our lowest moments.
Yeah. Yep. Damn. Dropping words of wisdom.
So that brings us to present day from Arian's perspective. And naturally, in a story like this, we go from the female main character who's like, he's the fucking worst. I hate him. And oh my God, I can't believe he remembers me. To, I've always thought Bailey was gorgeous, but when she's angry, fuck, she's downright delectable.
Yeah. He's appreciating her outfit.
Mhm.
In his mind, he's not saying it out loud. And then he's saying that he's been debating for over 2 months if he was gonna let her know that he remembered her from their first encounter, let her know that that small moment has lived with him every damn day since. But in the end, I decided against it, decided it was best to keep my mouth shut and see if it was possible to start fresh. And
Mhm.
then he did the exact opposite of that, which that's a mood. That's,
Yeah. We've all been there.
I like to plan how I'm going to approach something,
Mhm.
and then my brain takes me on a wildly different ride.
Oh, for sure. Mhm. He says, "So why did I change course at the last minute and mention our first introduction? I have no fucking clue, but the look on her face makes it worth it."
So she ignores his question, instead asks him, like, what the itinerary is. She says,
Mhm.
Maury asked Danny over a dozen times, but he insisted I would have it when we got here.
So we get a rundown. They're going to go to the balcony overseeing the party and then walk down. We're going to welcome the guests and the viewers on the live stream before starting the evening. One of the sponsors has a drinking game set up in the lounge area right outside the dance floor that we're expected to play a few rounds of. This is funny to me because generally sponsors are not going to encourage binge drinking.
Unless it's an alcohol sponsor.
Even then,
Yeah?
they would get so much shit for this because, especially in the cosplay community, when you're like portraying video game characters and cartoon characters, like your audience is going to be a lot of children. And
Yeah.
I feel like even alcohol brands are smart enough to know that they would be absolutely panned for encouraging binge drinking by having a drinking game.
That's a good point.
Like, you would have, like, a sponsored cocktail for the evening, or it'd be like the ball drop brought to you by, Jose Cuervo or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting to suggest that the sponsor would be like, "Get fucking wasted on camera."
That's It's a good point. It's an excellent point.
And then also there'll be dancing, a taco truck will pull up, and lastly, the countdown to midnight. And she's like, "And there's nothing you're leaving out, no midnight kiss or anything stupid like that." And he was like, "You wound me." There's already the start of this tension,
Yes.
which is so fantastic. It says, "My feet propel me a sudden step forward, small enough that she doesn't start, but large enough that there's less than a foot of space between us. Just being in her bubble makes my body hum with a delicious current. She blinks once. It's slow and meant to display her disinterest as I let my eyes drift over her face. I'm not sure if I believe she's completely unbothered by me or if she's just a good actress. So I push just a little." And he says, "You're saying you wouldn't kiss me if given the chance?" Her face stays set in stone while she holds my gaze. "Absolutely not." And then he realizes that she's not lying and he's sad.
Yes.
It's so good.
It's so good, but also, like, he pushes it
Mhm.
still.
Yeah.
And I don't love that. I mean, I understand we have a destination we need to get to. The whole point of
Mhm.
this is that whole enemies to lovers piece of things. But she's set a boundary. She has said it's not going to happen. And basically, I am not interested. You can fuck all the way off. And he continues to
Not in this moment, he
not in
doesn't.
no, not in this moment, but, like, she does continue to try to get her attention even after that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna disagree with you because I don't
Okay.
think he's doing anything. And as we go through it, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I don't think he does anything that counters that boundary of "I don't want to kiss you." Because like even when we get to the drinking game,
Yeah,
she's the one that's gonna make it sexual.
that's true.
And in this moment, what happens is we get his inner monologue here where He says, "It's true I wasn't the nicest person when we first met, and though I can't blame anyone but myself, I was in a bad place. People sometimes forget etiquette, and that day was particularly bad. I was so focused on the newcomer in green, I didn't notice fans encroaching on my space, didn't notice the dozens of pictures taken when I wasn't looking, when I wasn't in character because I was staring at her. I was so lost in thought, creating a roadmap in my head to get to her that when an asshole said something I can't even remember, it set me off, made me break my connection with the woman in green and say shit to him I immediately regretted. And I took it out on her. I've wanted to apologize since that day, but haven't been able to." And so it turns out that he's been trying to get her attention by making counterpart cosplays
Yeah.
and like trying to like create an interaction of any kind just so that he has the opportunity to talk to her to properly apologize. And so he thinks she has every right to be pissed off and my apology is long overdue. Look, Bailey. And she says, "Whatever you're about to say, don't. Since you remember me, then you recall what a complete dick you were. So if you're about to apologize or something, I don't want to hear it." And he's like, "I'm not sure if I should be vexed by her instant rejection, but I damn sure respect it. Still, my intestines twist." She goes, "And even though everything you said was shitty and a complete assumption, there is one thing that stuck, and I took it to heart. I am hot, and I can do this." And she fucking leaves.
Yes.
Oh,
Fantastic. But also, like, he wants to apologize to her,
mhm.
not because, like, she's already kind of made it clear to him, I don't want to hear your apology. I've moved on. I did what I needed to do based on the interaction that we have. So his apology to her is not because he wants to make her feel better or
Mhm.
like his apology to her is because he wants a relationship with her. It's a selfish apology.
It is kind of a selfish apology. He desperately wants her to forgive him because he's interested
Yeah.
and wants to pursue something.
I don't know. I feel like she's setting boundaries left and right, and he keeps
Mhm.
trying to break them down, which I don't love.
I think that's fair. I don't know. Like,
Not to say I don't love the interactions that they end up having,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that just it's a problematic thing of like, I said I'm done. I said I don't want to hear it, and you're going to continue to try to make me listen to you kind of thing.
Let's go through it because I don't think he does anything to push this.
Okay.
I think he continues existing. He can't help himself but look and interact. They are also co-hosts of this party,
Yeah, so
so
they
they
do have to
have to
pretend. Yep.
they have to spend time together. And from here on out, he's basically kind of like, this is the reality of the event that we're hosting. Like, this next interaction is just as a heads up. If you weren't aware, I'm the villain. My demeanor tonight will be. And she's like, "Natural? I know who Shredder is, Arian. You can say I've done my research this time." And he's like, "I just didn't want you to be surprised by anything I say while the cameras are on us." And so he's trying to be like, "Listen, this is the character."
Listen, I'm gonna be a dick to you for the rest of the night,
Kind of,
essentially.
yeah. Yes. And she replies, "Well, as you know, April isn't a pushover. She's strong-willed, independent, and won't bow down to a guy too scared to get his pretty face scratched up." But he says, "So tonight is going to be a never-ending battle." And she finally glances up at him. I'm met with a softness in his eyes I wasn't aware he possessed. And for 2 seconds, I forget. I forget under the tight band of tension, the weighted air, and unspoken words. But when those 2 seconds pass, I drag my teeth over my bottom lip and force myself to regain control over my nerves in the hopes of stopping my skin from tingling. My intentions are now, and have always been, to act accordingly with my character. I'm simply giving you fair warning like you gave me a common courtesy.
She's a badass.
She is.
So then they get introduced as the hosts of the evening, and she needs to remind herself again of the potential that this night has for her future. And she says, for that reason alone, I'm able to step forward, open the door, and walk out onto the small balcony. Finally, inside the ballroom, I'm able to appreciate both the venue and the turnout. Like the picture Maury showed us, it's massive, even with so many bodies occupying this space. A huge chandelier hangs in the center, a large disco ball strung from the middle. So it's like you're getting that like huge my nightmare, if I'm being honest, for a New Year's
Yes.
Eve.
Agreed.
Give
God.
me a game night, a night in any day for New
Yes.
Year's Eve. I've done the parties and it's too many people and the
Yep.
crowd. Yeah, no, no, no.
So, in unison with Pro Cause and Cirque Play, we would like to welcome you and thank you for celebrating your New Year's with us. Tonight, the sweet Miss O'Neill will delight you with her hospitality while I try not to rip anyone to shreds, especially not her. And then she continues, let us hope he behaves. But if not, no worries. Donatello has shown me more than a few ways to use a stick and where to shove it.
I like it. It's
I
good.
do too. It is.
So also we're reminded that like all of the fans want to see the two of them together. So they're
Yes.
feeding off of this will they won't they kind of thing too.
Absolutely. It's good for content.
Yes. We're getting some of the like influencer piece of it. So ads are popping up on their live stream and she's pointing it out to the listeners or the viewers and he's like, must you really spell it out for them? Can they not figure it out when when it pops up on their screen?
Mhm.
Which is like I get that the villain role, but also like he's kind of insulting the fans by playing into this role.
Yeah. It's very common for streamers to insult their chatters and their viewers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. It's part of the community building.
Interesting. Okay.
So they split up and the party kind of starts, the music starts, and she finds her friends again.
The conversation that her friends are having with
Oh,
her
yeah.
is like my favorite. So they're like just peppering her with questions. How was your first meeting with him? Is he the jerk you thought he'd be? So they don't even know that they met, period.
Yes.
So they think that this is just the first meeting.
Mhm.
And then, is he the jerk you thought he'd be? He looks fucking hot. Everyone won't stop talking about how amazing you two look. And then has to be Cindy saying, please
Yes.
tell me you're going to sit on that man's face. Loved it.
It's so good.
She says, he's exactly what I expected, arrogant and chauvinistic. And Cindy goes, God, I bet he's great in bed.
So she gives them the rundown, and her friends say, oh, they have tacos? And she replies, yes, the best part of the night, if you ask me. It's a well-known fact that I could live off tacos for the rest of my life and never complain. Now, this is such a lovely little detail.
Yeah.
Because we're going to learn later that Arian insisted with the sponsor that there be a taco truck.
Yeah.
And it's not spelled out. Like I said, the reader is never spoon-fed, but it is very obvious that he knew that she likes tacos and made sure there was going to be a taco truck for her.
Yeah.
Which I fucking love. It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to, they would, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So they're reminded that, like, the whole point of the night is that Bailey and Arian are supposed to kind of be together, be seen together. So they need to be sitting together, which she's kind of irritated about because she wants to hang out with her friends. But again, she's like, well, this is a job. Okay, fine, whatever. And they're sitting on the couch and he's spreading himself on the couch as they do. Like,
Yeah.
arms behind the back of it, his legs like
Spread out wide.
Yeah.
He does say, before tonight is over, I promise you'll forgive me. So you might be a little bit right here. He is pushing. And she goes, doubtful. And he shrugs one way or another, bae. And she goes, you know what? If you think you can accomplish it, go right ahead. I mean, it's not like I'm impartial to seeing you on your knees.
Yeah. So, like,
she's the one making it.
She is.
Sexual.
And maybe the reason why this bothers me so much is that, like, I am my own worst enemy in that case, too. Like, I would probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fine. Try me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
See, do your worst. See what you can do, you know? Yeah. Maybe that's why it bothers me so much is because it's a little too close to home.
Yeah. It says, I see the smile in his eyes as he relaxes into the leather. There's a promise creasing the edges, and foreign heat licks at my spine. I don't know what I've just gotten myself into, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little too excited about it.
And they haven't even started drinking yet.
I haven't even started drinking. Oh my God. Yep. So the drinking game is basically truth or drink, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's some dare. So it's,
No, you're right.
truth or dare or drink.
So there are cards that you have to do what the card says or you have to drink. Very straightforward.
Yes.
And again, the things on these cards, a sponsor would not have.
There were a couple
Done.
of them. Yeah, I agree. So we get another look into Danny and Maury and how
Yeah.
like they're giving each other fleeting glances and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. And Arian mentions it to her also. And she's like, basically he needs to get his shit together and ask her out because this has been too long. And this is where
Yeah.
we get the they've got something going on. Maybe they like how slow it is. Maybe it's their way of exploring whatever they want. And not everybody jumps balls in,
I liked that.
which is true,
Mhm.
but can't be me.
Incredible. But so this gives Bailey kind of an introspective moment, and she realizes he's a little right. And it says, that's what I want for my life. And it was unfair of me to judge Danny and Maury. It's clear they're both smitten, and that's great. A tightness stretches over my chest with the need to apologize. And so, she's kind of starting to see that Arian has thoughts and feelings and opinions that
Yeah.
aren't always wrong. And that helps.
So this was interesting to me, probably just because of what we've read to this point over the year.
Uh-huh.
It says, I used to enjoy being the more submissive type in bed, the pleaser. I mean,
Yes.
I can't even begin to describe how many times I had sex without finishing, but felt good about serving my partner. So, but this is to me I know that we talk about the dominant submissive piece of things is like a big umbrella, and that may be the case. But I also feel like being submissive in bed doesn't necessarily mean that you're not getting any pleasure. Or shouldn't mean that you're not getting any pleasure.
Yes.
So that I was like, ooh, I feel like this does a disservice to the community.
I agree. I think, though, this is a little bit of the case of unreliable narrator.
Okay.
Because I think that her view of being submissive is incorrect.
Yeah.
And what we're going to get later is Arian is going to take control.
Mhm.
And we're going to see a lot of the same indicators that we've seen in other portrayals of submissives where her brain turns off and she gets to just follow the instructions and brings her lots of pleasure. And so I think that Jacquot was right with introducing this as this is not a guide to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that this is a disservice to the concept of a submissive. But I think it's not because the author doesn't know what a submissive is. I think it's because the character has an incorrect view of it.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
So they start off with Maury. It says to confess the weirdest porn you ever watched or drink. And she's about to say 2 girls, 1 cup. And they're like, that's not porn, just drink. So Bailey realizes that Arian is just staring at her and she's like, what the fuck is your problem? And then before they can really talk about it, Danny calls Arian's name to pull the next card. And he reads, confess one of your greatest regrets or take a drink. Easy. Couple of years ago, anger got the better of me and I insulted a fan. Then immediately after, I was an asshole to a pretty girl in green. And she fakes a cough and goes, liar.
And he says, I've never seen the appeal of lying. The benefits don't outweigh the outcome, and it only ever gets people in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, mind you, they're sitting right next to each other while they're having this. So, he just had his turn. So, they're having this conversation. It's all being streamed.
Yeah, but it's kind of implied that they're talking quietly with each other. Yeah, it's a little confusing. They are on camera. They're not aware enough of the fact that they are on camera. for sure.
So she says, so you consider your interaction with me to be one of your greatest regrets. And he says, my only, if I'm being completely honest, which is sweet.
It is.
And then they're reminded that, like, oh, yeah, you're sitting right next to him. It's your turn to play the game.
Yeah.
So she pulls a card that says, do a trust fall with the person you trust least in the group or drink twice. So he's like, nice. Either you go ahead and take a sip. And she's like, you don't think I'll do the challenge? And he's assuming that he's the one that she trusts least. So she throws him a curveball and says, I trust you about an ounce more than I trust that other guy sitting across this group of us.
Who's dressed as Prince Naveen from The Princess and the Frog, by the way. Gives you a wide range of media that's being portrayed here.
That's true. So he goes, why would you let a stranger catch you? And she goes, you're a stranger.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's all going to go back to the whole, like, knowing. It says knowing someone through the lens of videos and social media does not constitute actually knowing them. So they are all
Correct.
strangers here. The only people she knows that she could do a trust fall with and actually trust are her two best friends.
And so he doesn't say anything, and she points to the other guy, and they do a little trust fall. The next person draws a card, whatever. And then Arian says, I don't like that you view us as strangers to her, like as an aside. And she was like, why do you care? And he says, because I do. Tell me what you want to know. And she goes, what if I tell you I don't want to know anything? And he replies, I like that you want me to work for your forgiveness. And she's like, why do you need me to forgive you? And he says, because it wasn't only that I took my anger out on you, I also blamed you a little for the mistake I made with the fan. And she's like, obviously and rightfully surprised, and asks what she did. And he goes, nothing, literally nothing. And then they keep getting interrupted.
Yep.
And it's Arian's turn. Or no.
No, it's not his turn.
It's someone else's turn. Yeah.
Someone had picked.
So good.
This is wild. And this is another thing that would never be put into a game by sponsors
From a
that people are
sponsor.
going to play, because this would immediately be like a Me Too kind of moment here. Unzip another player's pants with your teeth or take 3 sips of your drink. So someone dressed like Wonder Woman had picked him, and he leans back and goes, sorry, dear, elastic band.
Which isn't true, by the way. I love it so much. But yeah, so she visibly pouts. But what's funny is that we're in Bailey's perspective, and it says, something ugly and green blooms in my chest. I don't care, not even in the slightest, but we were clearly in the middle of a conversation. Plus, we're hosting this party together because the fans want to see us together, not him with someone else. And so it's like, she's such an unreliable narrator because she's clearly jealous, and she's clearly jealous that he's getting sexual attention from somebody else, and she's lying to herself about why she's bothered. And it's so good.
It's so good. It's so relatable when you're like, I have no claim over this person whatsoever, but I'm going to fight anybody that comes near them. Like 100%. So relatable. So he says, forgive me. Let's start over, because he wants to get to know her. And then he goes, what do I need to do? And she shrugs, saying the first thing that comes to mind, get on your knees. Could you imagine saying this to someone? Oh my God, you have, haven't you?
Doesn't matter. He doesn't miss a beat. His brows lift momentarily before he nods, sending a jolt down my spine. Here, or would you like to come in a place with a little more privacy?
Also, he says come in a place, not go to a place.
That's true. That's true.
That's like Freudian slip there.
Yeah. She goes, I was kidding, Kincaid. And he goes, I'm not.
So then it's his turn again, and he gets a challenge. Let the person to your right give you a shot, or take 2. This scene was so good, so sexy.
Yep. And like, to be clear, I have never, ever found spitting in someone else's mouth to be hot. This was fucking hot.
Yeah, it was.
This like gave me pause, because I was like, did not know that I liked that.
So he says to her, on my knees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she stands up, and we're not getting it from her perspective, which makes this even better. I think.
Yeah.
She's a little bit shocked that she's gonna do this, but then she makes eye contact with someone. She stands up and she tells him down, like, on his
Yeah.
knees. And then I'm not sure what happens, but one side of her lips curl and she nods before taking the shot herself. I'm momentarily surprised, but then she drops the empty glass and does something I wouldn't be able to prepare for even with an advanced warning. She grips my chin firmly with her finger and thumb, angles my face, and then dips down, stopping only a few inches from my mouth. Anticipation and lust surge down my spine, and it takes the entirety of my self control not to grab her face and close the minuscule gap. But then one of her fingers leaves my chin and taps my bottom lip, prompting me to open. Her eyes bore into my fucking soul and snatch it from its dark hiding place. Her reign over me forces me to do as instructed, immediately parting my lips. Her lips open and the liquor flows from her mouth to mine, not a single drop wasted. Never in my life have I been more turned on than in this singular moment. The act stuns me in more ways than she can possibly imagine and brands me with a new sort of desire. She stands up, wipes her mouth, and then says, "Swallow." Like, I never thought that I would be interested in the dominant side of things, but maybe.
And see, this was for me.
When she
This is
taps him on
very
the
much
nose
for me.
and says, "That's a good boy."
That's a good boy.
But also, and I'm going to take it back to episode 1. Do
Yeah.
you remember how
Yes.
she called the door? She calls him a good boy, and we were not on board for that. Now, you've come leaps and
No.
bounds in your identifying that piece of things. But also, we had said that it was that almost born yesterday piece that made us a little uncomfy about it, where he wasn't sure what was happening.
Yes.
He was very aware of what was happening.
Mhm.
And this was something that he hadn't done before, but in a good way. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how the same phrase
In a different context. Yeah.
can work in a completely different way. Interesting.
Yeah. I still don't particularly like good boy, but I think it's because of societal conditioning, because we generally do not refer to grown men as boys the same way we refer to grown women as girls.
That's fair.
And I think that's just the piece of it that is hard to like unlearn. But this scene was so good.
Yeah, it was.
And like the punctuation of tapping him on the nose and calling him a good boy while he's still on his knees is like chef's kiss. It's so perfect. It's so necessary. It's the cherry on top of the dominatrix cake. It's incredible. And
Yeah,
it
it was
worked
good.
for me.
It was very good.
And it works for him too, because it says, if I wasn't hard before, I'm fucking stoned now. And how I'm able to refrain from throwing her over my shoulder and taking her upstairs to the private rooms is a goddamn miracle. And she knows it. But instead of saying anything, she smirks and leans forward for a card. And then she escalates.
Yes. So her card says, "Tell the person closest to you a secret you've never told anyone, or finish your drink." So she leans in and whispers to him, "I've never had an orgasm I didn't assist with." Yeah, you're right, where like she is upping the ante in each of these situations. So like, I guess I retract my statement before with him pushing, because he's not pushing quite as much as she's giving him the green light, but they're not
Yeah.
like, it's that whole like her words and her actions are not aligning. And
Yes.
that's a problematic place to be with in today's culture of consent.
Absolutely. I completely
I think that
agree.
that's where my issue lies here, is that
Yeah.
like the words and the actions are not lining up, and someone typically in those cases ends up getting hurt
Agreed.
in the real world.
Yep.
So
Yep.
he says, "I would love to rectify that horrific secret." And she says, "I'm
Yes.
sure you would."
And he's like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. The only thing I'll be able to think about now is making you come all over my fingers or perhaps my tongue. Whatever you'll allow, nothing else. And she says, you'd want something in return. They always do. And he goes, I just told you what I want. and I don't lie. And so this is an interesting thing from her of like, there's always a catch.
Yeah.
Like you're going to want something in return. And it is like, I feel like a common thing when women talk about sex is like, men don't give orgasms without expecting one in return. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's why it's kind of more prominent in romance that men are so willing to give without receiving.
Yeah.
But I liked that he's like confused by her statement. I just told you what I want. I want to make you come. That's it. That's all. Like, that's all he's expecting, all he wants. And she's like, I don't even know you. And so he starts listing random facts about himself, which
Yep.
is fucking hilarious to me.
It's great.
But it also says that she smiles. And for the first time, I think I'm seeing a real one. So, like, she's softening up a little bit and giving him like an opening to
Yeah.
tell her more about himself, which is, it's cute.
It is cute. It's good. So she asks him to something you don't tell people, but let them figure out as they get to know you. And he says that he's terrified of geese.
And she says, I wasn't lying about the secret I told you a minute ago, but I have another. And she admits that he changed her career that day and that he was a little bit right. Not about her not doing research or just randomly deciding to do cosplay, but about being new and too nice. And she admits that she overheard some people saying basically the same thing and that she realized she needed to have tougher skin or do better at committing to my character. And she did both. And he finally gets to apologize because he says, Bailey, I'm sorry I was an asshole. You looked amazing that day. Hell, as soon as I spotted you, I couldn't keep my fucking eyes off of you. She grins at him. So we're warming up to each other here because she says, no need to butter me up. And he goes, I'm not trying to. I mean it. You don't have to have an expensive or elaborate costume to have a great cosplay. And I made you feel like you did. That's the worst thing someone who's been doing it for a while could do to a newcomer, which is true.
Yes.
So before they can continue, again, they get interrupted.
Yeah, always. And Danny says we're going to take a little break. So she goes off with her friends and tells him, meet me on the dance floor in 15 minutes, which he gets excited about. And then he realizes, like, no, that's actually part of the agenda for the evening. We're supposed to do that.
Yep.
So Danny sits down next to him and goes, did y'all forget that there were 10 other people around? I was sure you were about to fuck her right here on this couch. I thought she hated you.
Yes.
So then he says that he's being dramatic. Danny gives him like an update on what his follower count looks like, what their like ads and shares and all of that, all of the like creator stuff. And he doesn't seem to care about his. He wants to know about Bailey's stats.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
It is.
And then he says, I smirk as I recall her dominating me. I've never had the urge to submit to anyone, but with her, I would get on my knees every fucking day. Let her order me to do what she wants, when she wants it, and how she wants it. Then I'd have her on her back so I could split her in two. So good.
I fucking love it. So Bailey is filled with euphoria after these interactions with Aryan because she's getting praise for the stunt she pulled with the shot. And it says, every time someone mentions it, my core tightens and a feeling I shouldn't be experiencing grows heavier between my thighs. Recalling the look on his face, the loud pounding of my heart, and the quick movement of his chest makes my entire body feel as if it's on fire.
I like it. It's good.
It's so good. It's so good. The thought that it wasn't only about taking control, but that it was with him has my heart aching. Like, it's so good.
So Maury's giving her numbers. Follower count is up 20% across all platforms. 2 companies have reached out for possible partnerships. So those numbers, like all of these for a content creator or an influencer are huge things to happen.
Yes.
Through one event.
Yeah. But commenters, viewers keep mentioning Midnight in particular. And she realizes that the fans want a kiss. And she says, not happening. And Cindy is like, why not? You were damn near on top of each other during the drinking game. I figured you forgot all about disliking him so much. She considers telling them why she was initially pissed off at him, but
Yeah.
she decides against it and is kind of having this internal self reflective moment because she says, it wouldn't matter because I'm not even truly mad anymore. I mean, how can I be when he's been trying so hard to earn my forgiveness for us to start over? And so we're starting to realize that she's been holding on to this, but it's not really about him anymore. Like,
Yes.
it'll kind of become more of like, this was the start of me, of like who I am today. And I'm not actually mad at him anymore for like his low moment.
Right. And to tell your best friends about a time that a man has wronged you
Yeah.
when you can see something turning into something potentially more than that is
Yeah.
not a great choice.
Yeah. That's the classic of like, I'm sorry, we can't get back together because I already told my mom what you did. It's it's just there's no coming back from that.
No.
So she's kind of like surveying the dance floor. She's looking around and it says, I'm conflicted, but about what I'm not even sure. Besides fixing my long overdue issue of needing a hands off orgasm, Aryan doesn't want anything but a simple all is well, I forgive you. But I don't think that's all I want. And if I give in and like it, I mean, really like it, I'll have an entirely different problem to deal with. True.
But Cindy,
Yeah.
Vibe Cindy says, if you don't fuck that man or at least get a little freaky with him, I'm pretty sure you're going to regret it till the day you die. Preach, girl.
Preach. The tension between y'all is disgusting, and neither one of you is concentrating on anything else. So get it out of your system so you can focus. You're here for a reason, remember? That's percolating in the back of her head now, is
Mhm.
like the idea that she could just get him out of her system, which, like,
It was never a good idea.
has never worked.
No.
That's never worked. That's never a good idea. Somebody's going to get hurt. But of course, we've all had this misguided notion that, like, you can hit it and
Absolutely.
quit it and then you'll be satisfied. She won't be.
No.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
So she has a moment where she's able to tell Maury that she's totally on board for whatever she's got going on with Danny. I think it's sweet. He seems like a great guy. I'm happy for you. And Cindy's like, you can't be serious. And Bailey's like, I am. If she's okay with the pace that they're going and like the waiting, then we should be too. And Arian comes up and says, I'm not interrupting anything, am I? And she goes, we are in the middle of a conversation. And Cindy goes, girl, stop. You are talking straight gibberish about how 2 years of celibacy is acceptable if you like someone you're not even with. I mean, who does that?
No notes.
hmm
Because Maury had said that she had been living for the past 2 years with battery-powered boyfriends
Yes.
because she liked Danny so much. So she's like, "Actually, I think he's gonna finally ask me out tonight." And
Mhm.
Cindy goes, "So, yeah, you haven't been sneaking around this whole time? Jesus, years of waiting, and
Yeah.
what if the dick is bad?" And I mean, here's the thing, like, that's not the only important part of a relationship, but it is an important part
Correct.
of a relationship. So, like, I'm kind of on the same page with her. Like, 2 years of building something with someone, you can fully fall in love with that person in that time,
Mhm.
and then that can be a huge hurdle or disappointment if the sex is terrible.
I see that, but I also think that the anticipation helps. And if you like each other enough, you'll get good at it together. Bailey's like, okay, Arian, come dance with me. So they get on the dance floor as they are required to do. They're watching two other cosplayers in a dance off, I guess. And she says, is everything all right? And he says, yeah. And she's like, I thought you don't lie. And he goes, I don't like to lie. And she's like, what's wrong? And he goes, I'm just lost in thought, love. That's all. And it says, I try my best to ignore the way that word jumbles my insides. I also try not to read into it as I'm fairly positive he doesn't even realize he said it, which is incredible, adorable, and also you best believe he knows he said it.
Yes, but
Mhm.
he's been pining over her for years. So, yes, I understand, but also it's a little love bomby.
Ooh,
I don't
you don't
love it.
like it.
No, it's too she just sort of started to forgive him, and now he's
Uh-huh.
using, like, a cutesy nickname. I don't love it. I mean, I don't love a nickname
Unless it's good girl.
unless it's good girl. That's not necessarily a nickname, that's, praise. I
Mm,
like that.
mhm. Yeah. I like love. I think that love is cute.
I would be okay with it if it was, like, in the epilogue calling her
Mm,
love, but, like, they just decided that, like, you're calling her love now that she's given you, like,
an inch.
an intense hard on is what I was gonna say.
Fair, fair.
Which is why, just given the circumstances of how we've gotten to this point just in this one night, I feel like it's too soon for him to be using she's still, like, skittish. She still has
Oh, true.
it's just too
Yeah, you're right. There's a fine line though, because I feel like he's consistent.
yeah.
Like, and I think that that's a good thing. Like, he is very consistently like, this is what I want. I want to get to know you. I want to make up for the fact that I was a dick the very first time we met. This is who I am. This is what I want to be to you. And I think that's important, especially because she's skittish.
Yes.
I think for me, it's because I fucking hate miscommunication trope. I
Yes.
hate when the character runs away because she assumes something or like, and
Yeah.
we're going to get that. We're going to get that here in just a minute. But because he's so consistent, steady Eddie, like, this is what I want, it helps her be able to come around and look at the situation objectively and be like, okay, I'm actually in. And like, it's not that he changed her mind. He was just the same the
Yeah.
whole time.
And I think that for someone that has been hurt by men, which she's obviously has some kind of
Yeah.
things that she needs to work through. When you're faced with that consistency or when you're being told flat out how somebody feels or what they're
Yeah.
thinking, it's almost like, what's the catch? Or like, are
Right.
you just
Yeah.
telling me what I want to hear? Or
Yeah.
so I can agree with that. I think that consistency, though, needs to be more than like over the course of a couple hours
Mm-hmm.
to warrant love.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But we're working with a novella,
Yeah.
so it is what it is.
So they're dancing and making suggestive comments to each other. She's getting lost in feeling his body against hers, which, like, the tension is ratcheting up.
Yep.
And I like it.
Mhm.
And he says, I haven't told you yet, but you look beautiful. And she says, thank you. And he says, I was a fucking idiot. And she was like, can't argue with you there.
It's great.
It's so good. But he says, I meant what I said about it being one of my greatest regrets. And she was like, haven't you ever made a mistake you wish you could take back? And he says, nothing close to how I felt that day. The warmth that spreads through my chest is intense. So much a burn radiates behind my eyes. This man is trouble, and already he's climbing over my 1,000 blockades with ease, knocking each of them down. And she runs. She thinks this is just another party and he is just another guy. But even as I think it, I know it's not true anymore. And neither is this strange feeling growing too big and too fast to ignore. Maybe Cindy's right. Maybe I need to get him out of my system so I can focus on what matters. And maybe that all starts with a quick little O.
Now, I wasn't sure if she was planning on going someplace to relieve herself.
I thought she was trying to relieve herself.
So that's what I thought at first, but then I was like,
Mhm.
or was she expecting him to follow her? She didn't like
Yeah.
beckon him or anything, but like,
No, and she basically loses him in the crowd.
yeah.
Someone else had to tell him where she went.
So he realizes that, like, oh shit, I need to go after her. He tries to find her in the back hallway, and the bathroom line is too long. He's like, she wouldn't have made it through there already. So he like makes eye contact with a doorman, and he says, if you're looking for the April, she went up the elevator. There's private restrooms in the bridal suite on the 3rd floor. So he goes up to the bridal suite
Mhm.
and surprises her because she doesn't realize that anybody else had come up there, which, like, I mean, I don't know. That's not a very safe thing.
Yeah. Yes. And, like, if I were fleeing from someone, I wouldn't want the doorman to tell him where I went, you know?
Yeah, true. He surprises her. She's like, "Holy shit, you scared me." He goes, "Sorry, I just," and she goes, "You apologize a lot."
And he goes, "That's the thing. I don't." And she goes, "And why have you done it so much tonight?" And he goes, "Because I need you to forgive me." And she goes, "Tell me why and don't lie to me." And so he flits through all of the reasons why. And it's like a ton of things. It's because I want you, because even though I didn't know anything about you, you still occupied my thoughts, so much so that not a single woman has appealed to me since. And he's trying to land on one that doesn't make him sound like he's out of his mind. And she like sees him like thinking and says, "You're trying to think of a reason." And he's like, "I promise I'm not." And she goes, "It shouldn't take this long." And he goes, "I'm trying to think of something appropriate." And that came out wrong. And she's like, "You know what? Fuck this. Here's what we'll do. Instead of telling me why you want my forgiveness, you're going to make me accept your pathetic attempts at an apology." And she tugs down the zipper of her jumpsuit.
She was in that bathroom, she was doing the Superman pose because this is one
Yes.
confident woman.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
like, wow, the
Hmm.
confidence is wild. And she says, "Make me forget that mouth of yours is used for anything other than making me feel good,"
Yeah.
which he doesn't do here. He doesn't really use his mouth here.
I thought he did.
Later, yes, but he lifts both of her arms above her head, locking them in place by her wrists with one of his hands as the other tips her chin up. So good.
So good.
So good. He says, "Tell me what to do, love. I want you to command my every move." And she says,
Uh-huh.
"Touch me." He says, "Where?" And she says, "Everywhere. I still want to feel your touch when I wake up tomorrow." He says, "With that, I take free rein. My hand slips from her chin, skirting along her collarbone with a teasingly light pressure before dipping down to the valley of her breasts. Now, mind you, we're on page 70. This is the first, like, the shot scene
Yeah.
was before that.
Yeah.
So before we're getting any kind of anything, we're on page 70 of
Yep.
120 pages.
She says, "You're being soft, gentle, like you're worried you'll scare me off again." And he's like, "Maybe I am. Like, you ran already. Like, what do you mean?" And she goes, "You shouldn't be, especially since this is just to rectify my horrible secret." And this is where he's like, she literally just means that she's never had an unassisted orgasm. I told her I could give her that. That's all she's expecting. Nothing more and nothing less. He thinks, how had that slipped my mind so quickly? And then I nearly laugh at myself. The answer is simple because that's not all I want. She is. Her in her entirety, the good, the bad, the fun, the boring. I want it all. Because even though I still have so much to learn about her, my soul sees this woman and fucking burns. Like,
It's so good.
it's so good. Ah.
So he tells her to turn around and takes the
Mhm.
belt off of her and ties her hands together behind her back
Yep.
and then guides her to a large white ottoman a few feet away and tells her to sit. And she says, "You're missing a special word there." So he says, "Please." And she listens. He tells her what to do, legs up, spread apart, please, again. He says perfection. And he's like just kind of looking at her, soaking up every curve and dip, memorizing every freckle and faded mark. And she goes, "You're taking too long, Kincaid. Are you stalling because you can't do it?" Fantastic.
Absolutely incredible.
So he tells her to be careful, and she says, "Or what?" He says, "I don't make empty threats, so if you're curious, continue to push me." And she says, "Big talk for someone who," and then he bites her.
Mhm.
So this is, I think, the only thing his mouth is doing. He bites her and like licks her neck a little bit. because then he just fingers her. And I mean, I say just.
Yeah.
Does it well and there's no pistoning. So
No, exactly. So then we get to Bailey's perspective, and she is thinking, in the past 5 minutes, I have learned dominance is not something I can consistently maintain, at least not when I'm as needy and as desperate as Arian has made me.
Mhm.
Everything about him feels incredible. His mouth, those hands, the fit of his body against mine. All of him is everything I wanted and nothing I expected, and he's barely even touched me. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So Aryan fucks me with his fingers. He drags them in and out at a mind-melting pace, curling and twisting as he does. My head falls back, the pretense that I was somehow still in control evaporating under the growing pressure low in my stomach. She gets really close. He wants her to say please, and
Uh-huh.
her whole shtick on her thing is that she's not going to beg anybody for anything. She doesn't use
Yep.
the word please. She is not sweet. She is a badass.
Yep. And he says, you know what? Don't bother. Keep it. I'd much rather hear it when you're begging me to fuck you, because I will fuck you, love. And when I do, this perfect little cunt will swallow every single drop I give her. Now come for me. And then he pinches her clit and doesn't slow his pace and keeps finding the correct movement and rhythm.
It was good. And
It
then
was so good.
when she finally comes down from it, he goes, "You
Mhm.
did good." And she says, "I have to admit you did better." So he gets up and says, "Let me get you a towel." So
Uh-huh.
aftercare and
Yeah.
cleaning her up. And he gives her a weary smile and she thinks he's upset. No, that doesn't feel right. Sad, let down, disappointed. So she's in her head. He's
Yep.
in his head.
Yep.
And then neither one of them are talking about it yet. And she leaves. She runs again. She fixes her bra, yanks the zipper of her jumpsuit up, reattaches her belt, puts her wig back on,
Mhm.
and then runs back to the elevator and goes downstairs before he can come back out. Cindy is like, "Where have you been?" So she looks at her, pauses, and Cindy tucks a stray hair under her wig and goes, "Better." And then
Yeah.
simply grins, "About time. Tell me about it over food."
Yeah. She gets in line, orders food, grabs a buzzer, and comes back to the table and gets interrupted by a woman who she had seen speaking with Aryan and Danny earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The woman introduces herself as Lauren with Procos, which is one of the sponsors for the night. Everything that she's been working toward is to basically be able to talk to someone at this caliber of
Yes.
sponsor. And she says, I need to thank Mr. Kincaid for being so adamant we ask you. He was absolutely on the money. The people love you, and your work, it speaks for itself. Really incredible. And Bailey's confused and she goes, what do you mean he was adamant? And Lauren replies, to be completely honest, we were only looking for one host, but then he said he wouldn't even consider it without you doing it with him. And Lauren shakes her head, her smile expanding as if she isn't making my entire body melt into the marble beneath our feet. Oh, and the taco truck. He needed tacos. And it says, my stomach flips, pulse fluttering with awareness. So, she realizes that he made sure not only that she was there, but that her favorite food was also there.
This is like some Travis Kelce shit here.
A bit, yeah. And so Lauren says, anyway, I know you have an event to get back to, but I wanted to touch base and let you know to be on the lookout for a call from my office. We would love to work something out and get you on our team. So she is left standing there in shock. She sees her friend Cindy through the crowd. Their eyes connect and she nods frantically. It's such a girl moment. It's
Yeah.
so good. But years worth of work, thousands of hours put into learning the craft, hundreds of videos, working our way for the right people to notice, and it all paid off. She wants me. Procause wants me. A small voice in the back of my head whispers, and so does he, which is so good.
So she's excited because she realizes that he likes her
Yeah.
and he is thinking that she does not like him. And
Yeah.
he thinks, I tried. That should be good enough to put my obsession with her to rest, right? I mean, I apologized, tried to be a gentleman, and showed her the smallest glimpse of how I could make her feel. But it clearly wasn't enough, or at least not what she wanted, because she bailed before I could even clean her up.
Uh-huh.
Now, they still have leading up to midnight that they have to interact and do all of this. So he goes to sit down on the couch, and Danny comes over and slumps down and says, "Why are women? How can they be so? I want to better understand." So, where Maury thought that he was going to ask her out,
Yeah.
he told her he needed more time, which, like,
Uh-huh.
2 years. Fuck off.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm not sure how we're going to redeem that in the sequel because I assume there's a sequel. I
Yeah.
assume they're the next couple, but like starting real low.
Yeah. And Arian says to Danny, first of all, you've had enough time.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a good friend being like, dude,
Yeah.
like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And then he basically is like, what, 2 years of my like subtle apologies for Bailey, and that like isn't enough. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, not when you don't ever plan to tell her that that's what those were. Those weren't
Yeah.
like you trying to one up her. Those
Yeah.
were apologies.
Yep.
He says a cause can't be supported if nobody knows about it. I mean, people wouldn't even know who she was if you didn't do all that shit. You literally made her, which pisses him off.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. Is it like,
Yeah. Yeah. Because Arian's like, don't say that. She made her fucking career. She's more talented than all the people in this room. She only lacked exposure. And like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And Danny's like, I am sorry. I was projecting. But Arian says it doesn't matter. At least it wasn't all for nothing. Lauren finally got a chance to see her, so I'm sure they'll offer a sponsorship. And Danny says, I'm sorry it didn't work out. And Arian says, yeah, me too. And so they're like sitting there. He sees Bailey pop up on the screen because like there's a display of what the drone is showing.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Danny goes and gets her so they can do the countdown. And they do their little promo. They say, thank you so much for joining us, yada, yada, yada. And then it like cuts to commercial, basically, to the ad. And after Danny's gone, Bailey finally turns, giving me her undivided attention. Can we talk? And then we switch to Bailey's perspective. And it says, for the last hour, I've been on the dance floor, thinking, planning, making decisions. And she says, I wanted to apologize for the miscommunication.
And he says, miscommunication. I'm pretty sure I told you I was going to get you a towel. So.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And she says, if I'm being completely honest, he goes, that would be nice. Again, I like the banter when,
Yes.
yeah, I like it. So she goes, I was under the impression it was a one-off thing. You gave me an offer and I accepted. I figured that was that. And he goes, you didn't think anything changed between the game and that suite? She goes, I don't know. And that's why I left. Kinda. And he's like, care to elaborate?
Yeah, use your damn words.
And she says, for a while, I didn't like you. I was angry and pissed off that my idol turned out to be a dickhead. But tonight, I've been forced to see the other side of you, and I was able to admit a few things to myself. You inspired me with that moment, and while I was still mad, I really wasn't. I was holding on to a grudge for nothing. After you apologized, I don't know. I think I realized I still liked you after all, and crossing lines would make things complicated. He finishes for her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, thank you for telling me that. Look, I don't want things to be complicated between us. I meant what I said about that day being one of my biggest regrets. Well, I'm glad it inspired you in a few ways. It shouldn't have happened like that. And then he says, and for the record, I am very interested in you. So nothing about what we did complicated anything, only confirmed it. And again, a man that can communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Top notch.
Yep. So they get interrupted.
Again, because it's time for the countdown.
Because it's time for the countdown. And this was so good. Now, keep in mind, she has already come. He's already touched her.
Yes.
They have not kissed.
That's true.
And the anticipation for this kiss is so good. It's so, so good. I'm so impressed by it.
Yes. And this is funny because there was another book that there was like the counting,
Yes.
remember?
Yes, it was horrifying. The book horrifying. Yes.
So we're the counting and we were like, oh my God, this is terrible. I hate the counting piece. The countdown, 10, his helmet comes off. 9, He puts his drink on the banister. Like, the countdown makes sense because of what
Yep.
it is, but
Yep.
also the building of it. 3, my hand slides between us, grabbing the metal plate at his ear. 2, I rip the mask from his face and throw it somewhere behind me. 1, our lips smash together. Happy New Year, everyone bellows, but I barely register it. All I can do is feel the overwhelming power of his lips pressed against mine and the euphoria in my gut screaming that everything about this is right.
Mhm.
That's good.
It's so good. It's so good. And so then it says 1 minute I'm kissing Aryan as if the world is on fire, and the next he's hauling me out of the back of the party. I'm currently sitting in the passenger seat of his Camaro trying to text Maury and Cindy while Aryan continues to kiss me every 2 seconds. So she tells her friends where she's going
Yep.
and who she's with.
Yep.
And they're like, have fun. Get it, girl? And they get into the parking garage of his building, and he says, do you trust me? And she goes, enough. Why? And he goes, this elevator leads up to my penthouse on the top floor. No one else has access. And she goes, okay. And he goes, I won't make it the 30 flights. And I loved this. This is great. So they basically get fucking naked in this elevator.
Yeah. She does.
She does. He
He
does
doesn't.
not.
They get into the elevator and he tells her to strip. The
Mhm.
deep tone in his voice leaves little room for question. And she's horrified and goes, here. And he's
Huh?
like, are you asking me to repeat myself, love?
Huh?
So he tells her that she has till the count of 3. She says, or what? And he goes, then the next thing out of your mouth needs to be our safe word. Now, this, I liked it, but
Huh?
also I didn't.
Uh-huh.
Because
Not a guide to the lifestyle.
not a guide to the lifestyle. Like, this, I liked. It was good, but at the same time, like, he doesn't know that that's what she wants. He
Yeah.
doesn't know, like, they haven't had, for somebody that's a good communicator, they haven't communicated about something that's very important.
Yep. This
So,
is true. However,
yeah,
I still think it works.
it does. It does.
In fiction. It
Yes.
works in fiction. In real life, you absolutely need to have these conversations. You need
Yes.
to talk about whether you like to be dominated, whether you like to dominate. The fact that Aryan clearly has switch vibes and so does Bailey, like
Is good.
having that exchange of power in both directions is something you really gotta communicate well about. You should not be picking a safe word in the heat of the moment. You should be very clear about what you're about to engage in. Like, all of that is true. However, this was sexy as fuck.
So she says, aren't there cameras? And he goes, no. She goes, down then, pretty boy. And he goes, when that fucking jumpsuit comes off. And she says, you sure you want to do this? I've already been satisfied tonight, so I think I can hold out longer than you can, which is pretty fantastic.
So good.
So he starts to strip her instead.
Yeah.
He takes her boots off. She goes, what's the rush? And he says, because I've waited too long for this, thought about it for even longer, and every second I'm not inside you is fucking torture.
The admission shatters any remaining protection I was stubbornly holding on to, and that, accompanied by the look of pure desire etched on Aryan's face as he examines me almost fully exposed, causes a gaggle of goosebumps to flood across my skin, my nipples tightening painfully in my bra. Just, oh my God.
So
it's
then
good.
he does say, you never gave me a word. He says, I'm not a gentleman, and with you in that damn mouth, I plan to make that beautiful cunt of yours very sore. So she decides that New Year is going to be her safe word.
Yep. That's fine. And so he lifts her up against the wall of the elevator.
Hoisting me onto his shoulder. Again,
Yeah.
a girl wants to feel small, and that is the way to do it.
Fuck yeah. Yep. Yep. So he eats her out against the wall of the elevator while her legs are thrown over his shoulders. Absolutely good. Loved all of this.
Fantastic.
He does not let her come,
No, because she won't say please.
but he says, it's cute you think you're in charge here. You had your turn. It's mine now.
Yeah, it's good.
No.
It's good.
So good.
So He kisses her. It says, my own arousal hits my taste buds and somehow my frustration fades into something else, something worse. No one has ever denied me an orgasm, never taken away what I worked hard to get. And while I should probably be pissed, I'm even more turned on.
It says, I've never been desperate, never needed to come so bad that tears sprung to my eyes or made me use the word please. But I think that's what I want. To be pushed to the brink, to be so out of my head, sobbing with the overwhelming need that I crumble, that I beg.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I love it so much.
So
I
they
love it so much.
get to his apartment
Mm-hmm.
and they barely make it inside. And he says, on those pretty knees of yours, Bailey, I've got pre-cum dripping down my cock and you need to clean it up. So she gets on her knees and then she smirks up at him and he's like, what? And she goes, you have a zipper. And he's like, is that a problem? And she goes, you told that woman during the game your pants were elastic.
And it says, a genuine smile spreads over my face and I hook a finger beneath her chin because your mouth is the only one I want next to my cock.
Great.
It's so good.
I mean, what a way to calm a girl's insecurities.
Right? God, I love it.
She says nothing as she finally frees my erection. She sucks her bottom lip into her mouth as she takes in my girth. Don't worry, love, we'll make it fit. In that smart ass mouth, in that tight cunt, and in that virgin ass.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
But I also like that this wasn't like, I couldn't fit my hands around it. It was like,
Yeah.
she's surprised that it's big.
Yep.
But not scary big. And he reassures her that it'll be okay.
Yeah. And then he realizes that he needs to communicate a very specific thing, which is that he is clean. And she pauses for a moment and then she looks down the entirety of his cock.
Yes. And his head falls back and she goes, eyes on me, Kincaid. I want to see what you look like when you beg.
It's so good. All of this is so good. I don't like that he fucks her mouth. Like,
yeah. I mean,
that's not my favorite, but it works for her. But one thing I did like is when he says, do you know how fucking beautiful you are with my cock in your mouth? How perfect. As strong as she is, as dominating as she is, she's still a sweet girl at heart. She aches for the praise and recognition of her hard work. I intend to give her that and so much more.
I have a question, and it's a little before that.
Go on.
And it goes back to a conversation that we had before.
Okay.
Pretty little gags echo in the space around us as she takes me, her breathing sharp when I allow her short breaks to suck in air. Again, do you remember the conversation we had about gagging?
Yes. It makes them feel big.
And I mean, like, apparently he is, and that's great. Good for him. But also, like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't
why
understand.
men like it.
Yes. And I feel like I need to, like, do some field research and ask some questions. So he is close to coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then he yanks on her mouth, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then says, are you on contraceptives? I've never heard a man use the word contraceptives except for, like, my doctor.
Gynecologist.
Yeah. And so they're kissing as they're walking through his apartment into his room. He kind of tosses her on the bed.
Love that.
Yep. And he says, so fucking needy. And she rolls her eyes at him and says, after being denied 2 orgasms, I think it's a miracle I haven't lit anything on fire yet.
Yep. But he is wearing a cape. That did happen.
I think there's a hierarchy of capes and the sexiness of a cape.
Ooh. Do you have examples?
Yeah, like, I feel like a vampire cape is hotter than a Superman cape.
I think that you are right.
But I also think it has something to do with the spandex.
I don't know if we saw his cape before, but it doesn't really matter. It's a single line in this 120-page book.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it detracts. It is kind of funny. So he lays her down on the bed and puts a pillow underneath her hips for good angle.
Fantastic.
Which is fabulous.
Top notch.
Absolutely love that. And it says, Arian's eyes rake down my frame, followed by his hands, both lighting a path of pure fire in their wake. While my heart thunders in my chest, my mind driving on pure lust, I see it in his eyes as he moves. The tenderness, the appreciation, there's something more propelling him, something more than sex. Oh, it's so good.
It is good. So he wants her to watch him inch by inch.
Yep.
They all do. They all do.
Classic.
I mean, he goes fucking hell, Bailey, once he's like fully seated, and then goddamn. And I mean, again, this is pretty relatable.
Yeah, this is great. He says, tomorrow I'll take my time. I'll explore every part of you and won't leave an inch unkissed. But tonight I'm going to use you. I'm going to fuck you without an ounce of the infatuation I feel. And I'm not going to stop. And she finishes until one of us breaks. Got it. Then do it.
So it takes like 4 thrusts, and she's like, already, and he goes, already, love? I've only just started.
To be fair, he did bring her to the brink twice.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And honestly, if she can get there in 4 thrusts, more power to you, because that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's so good because, like, each thrust hits a spot I didn't even know existed. And when a low pressure I've never felt before builds somewhere incredibly deep, I gasp. Like, this is a man who knows what he's doing with his penis. I love that for her. But clearly, because we get a mention to 7 failed relationships in her past.
I must have missed that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, sex is not the most important part, but it's very important.
Indeed. Yep. And so she says, fuck. And he goes, me? Okay.
Somehow, in one fluid motion, I'm flipped and straddled on top of him. My hands wrap around his neck, whether to steady myself or find an anchor, I'm not sure, because Arian captures my mouth in the next second. He says, you feel it, don't you, love, how this cunt was made for me. I have that highlighted because it gave me the ick.
Yeah, that's
if
not my
someone
favorite.
said that to me during sex,
You'd be like, and get out.
dried up immediately.
Yeah. She doesn't answer, but he says, keep your secret, but your body already admitted the truth. So he is still trying to get her to say please, and she refuses. But then he makes her come. He begs her basically to let him come inside of her. And she says, what's the magic word? And he doesn't even hesitate. He says, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. He's not here to stand on ceremony. He you can have your strength, your dominance.
Yeah.
You can refuse to say please. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I will beg.
Well, and
I respect it.
And that's not his whole shtick anyway, though. So,
No.
like, for him, he's like, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it.
Yep. So afterwards, they are lying there in the afterglow, and she laughs and says, who would have known? And he goes, I did. And like, I kind of love that.
That's nice. That's a nice one. And then he says, let's get you cleaned up. He says, at the risk of you claiming miscommunication again, that was not the last time you'll be in my bed. That's good too. Like, and that's part of the aftercare piece also, is like having those conversations after, checking in with your partner, seeing where they're at with all of that stuff. So like, that's important.
Yep.
So then we get an epilogue. And this is not 1 year later, but appears to be about 6 months later.
Yeah, we get a couple of tweets basically.
Yeah.
To kind of like set this stage. We could have left it with tweets, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like these like little pieces of a glimpse into, oh, they announced they're dating. Oh, they dressed up as whatever. Bailey Rook finally opens up her brick and mortar store, whatever.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get a lot of tell, not show about their relationship after this, where it's like the first day we exchanged numbers, but he was back at my place that night. And then the next day we went X number of hours without seeing each other, and then fucked again, blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, I'm not sure if it was somewhere between him painting my toenails or explaining how fishing line is one of the most overlooked elements in a cosplay costume, but I fell in love with him, an annoying amount if I'm honest. And in the 6 months since, my life has forever changed. She opens up her dream store where People can come network, create, shop, and imagine. And then it says November 4th. So this is less than a year
Yep.
later. Bailey and Arian have the cosplay wedding of the century. I don't like that.
I don't either. And then that's where we end. So
That is where we end.
less than a year and they got married.
Yeah.
But he already had a penthouse, so I don't think that they were really mixing finances early on.
True. How do you rate this one?
I think for me, this is like a 3.
Okay.
It was good. I didn't love it. I don't know. A lot of the things didn't work for me, as I was very clear about. But the writing was still really good. It looks like she's got Hollow Knight novellas. She's got one for Christmas, one for St. Patrick's Day. It looks like probably 4th of July, Halloween, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day
Nice.
in.
Okay.
So, like, it looks like there's a bunch of different holidays, which is good. And I probably will read a couple more of those.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, I like the writing style and whatnot. What about you?
I think this is a 4.5 for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm only docking off half a point because I think the epilogue is unnecessary. And I think it detracts from the buildup that we had.
Okay.
Because I don't like getting married in less than a year. That upsets me.
It takes a
upsets me
long
lot.
time to plan something like that. So, like,
Yeah, no, absolutely not. He had to have proposed like 3 months in, and that is love bombing. But yes, I'm going with 4.5. I think the writing was incredible. I really liked their dynamic. I liked the banter. I liked the sex. I thought it really worked. It worked a lot for me, which is a rare occurrence on this podcast, I feel. So I am very, very pleased with this week's read. So tell me, who did we cast?
So for this one, for Bailey, I cast Bailey first. And
Okay.
I ended up making this casting choice. Like, I was trying to figure out who could I see in this role. Jennifer Lawrence is who I came up with for this.
Nice.
She can play the bitchy character, but she still is kind of like sweet and a little bit like...
Yeah.
So, but then I was thinking, okay, who do the fans want to see with Jennifer Lawrence?
Uh-huh.
And who but Liam Hemsworth?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not to mention that is one very attractive man. Like, when the whole Hunger Games piece came out, like, everybody wanted her to be with him instead of PETA.
Yeah.
And them as a pairing is like chef's kiss. So
it works.
It works
for
in
sure.
terms of the story as related to the real world, in my opinion.
I love it. I think that's great.
So what are we reading next week?
So we are going to kick off 2026 with Space Vampire by Ruby Dixon. It's been a while since we read a Ruby Dixon.
Yes.
We're coming in hot in the new year.
This is a
and I am
relatively new
excited.
release, right?
I think so. Yeah. This year. Yep. So
Yeah,
it's a
I
new
remember
one.
seeing a bunch of I'm
Promo for
excited.
it.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Published in September of this year.
Okay. Yeah. No, I did remember seeing that. So I'm excited to read that one. But for all of our listeners, we hope that you had a wonderful holiday season. We hope that you have a very happy new year. We are so thankful for each and every one of you. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, comment on our posts, leave a review. Anything helps. And with that,
We're at our wits' end.
we'll see you next time.
And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
Was that as good for you as it was for me? You have been listening to the WITS